right, we're going to talk about inversions for seventh chords in this video. All right, so we're going to use an A minor minor seventh chord to invert because then I didn't have to worry about any sharps or flats, and I like minor minor seven chords. So, okay, as you can see, the one on the far left, this is an A minor minor seven chord in root position. Okay, so if you were looking at all of the intervals compared to your lowest sounding note, just using numbers, not worried about what like quality any of them are. If you count from A to C, you have like, if you're counting, you've got 1, 2, 3 basically spaces. Okay, you can also think down here, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then from the root to the fifth is a fifth interval, right? So if you were counting the notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we have a 7, okay? And we're going to do it in like descending order, okay? All right, now in the second measure over is what we call first inversion, okay? So as you can see, I've now put that root on top, okay? Make my root a different color for a second too. Let's go with purple. I don't know if you can, yeah, probably wouldn't be able to see that very well if you're colorblind. We'll go with blue. Okay, and then if you look at the next one, it's the second inversion, okay? But the name of the chord would still be A, okay? Even though the bottom note has changed, the root of the chord has not changed, okay? And the last one, so this is third inversion. Our A is now right here. Okay. All right, so if you notice when it was inverted and it's a seventh chord, there's always a spot where some of the notes are right next together. So the second interval is what that's called. And the root is always the top note in that. So you can see it right here, and then see there's that second interval in the middle. It's that top note. And then at the end, the second interval is on the bottom, and again, the A is the root, okay? All right, so in root position, the root is in the bottom, okay? In first inversion, the third of the chord is what's in the bass, okay? It's the lowest sounding voice. In second inversion, the fifth is what's the bass note, okay? So if you compare over here, root, third, fifth, the E is the fifth, okay? And then in third inversion, the seventh will be the lowest sounding voice. It would be the bass note. Okay. All right. With numbers, so I can show you how we get our inversion numbers for our symbols. Okay, so first let's just measure from the lowest sounding voice to that upper one, the highest one. So if you look down here at the keyboard, and count the C, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the number from bottom to top. Then the next number that we have is 5, okay, so that would be from the C to the G. And then the other one that we would have is a 3, okay. All right, next one over. So E up to a C, if you count it, it's 6. And then E to A is 4. E to G is 3. Okay. And the last one, G all the way up to an E is a 6. G up to C is 4. And then G to A is 2. Okay. Now, if you think back to our triads, some of these numbers might look kind of similar, right? So if you think back to triads, like 5 and 3 was always there. We saw 6s before for first inversion, and we saw 6, 4 for second inversion. That means that we have to use numbers that are unique to these seventh chord inversions when we write out our inversion signs. Okay, I'm going to grab my circle. So if you're thinking back to a triad in root position versus a seventh chord in root, the only difference is this 7. So that's what you would use, is a 7 for root position. Okay. Okay. comparing first inversion to for a triad compared to first inversion for a seventh chord, the thing that makes it different is the 6 with a 5 next to it. Okay, because the first inversion triad would have just 6 and 3, but first inversion for a seventh chord has 6 and a 5. So that's what's unique about this one compared to a triad. Okay, second inversion, we use 6-4 for the triad, which means we're going to use 4-3 for the seventh chord. Okay, and then the last one, you actually have two options. You could use just a 2, because that would be unique to this chord, or you can also use 4-2. Okay, 4-2 is kind of tradition, right? But you could use just a 2 as well, and that would work. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to drop my circle tool after I erase these, or else it's going to stay on my screen. All right, and I'm going to spell some chords out, and while I'm doing that, I want you to know what inversion numbers you would attach to these. Okay, all right, here's the first one. Okay, so I want you to think about first off how you label the chord. So what's the root of the chord? Then what's the quality of the chord? And then what are the inversion numbers for the chord? Okay, so those 3 things. So go ahead and pause and think about it. Okay, and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so the root of this chord is the B flat. Okay, because we've got the second interval right here. It's always the top of the second interval. So B flat's our root. And B flat, D, F makes a major triad. F to A flat is 3 semitones, so this is a major minor 7 chord. Okay, and then the numbers that would be attached to this for the inversion sign would be 6, 5. Okay. All right, here's another one. How well I can do this one. Okay, sorry, it didn't want to give me my note at first. Go. There we go. Now, okay. Alright, so same thing as before. Figure out what the root is, what the quality is, and then what inversion numbers. All right, let's assume that you figured that out. Okay, so first off, the root is that C sharp that I have highlighted blue. Okay, and it's C sharp, E, G would make a diminished triad, and then C sharp, well, and then from G to B flat would be another 3 semitones. So this one is fully diminished. So this is a C sharp fully diminished 7th chord, and the numbers would be either just 2 or 4 and 2. Okay. Okay, and that would be for third inversion. Okay, so the 7th is in the bass position. Okay. All right, that's it for 7th chord inversions. The next video for the week will be about Roman numerals in major and minor keys.